Good morning and welcome to another conversation with Mose. And as always, I pray life is treating you well, wherever you are in the world, and that you're one day closer to your dreams, hopes, and prayers coming true. And of course, my podcast wouldn't be a podcast without a poem. And this poem is written by yours truly. And it's from my book, my 14th book, The Psalm 23 Experience, available now where books are sold. And this poem is called Success While Being Black. I see life now with blurred eyes. Images that appear to be something they are really not. Specifically people. In a world I am seeking daily to comprehend. I see people wanting the attention, the validation, the approval, the accolades from a society that don't give a fuck about them or the struggles they may face. Mentally, emotionally, financially, I see ageism, I see racism, I see sexism. I see the ugliness under the face of lies, disguised as truth. So do you. And you're still willing to sell your soul to the devil for 15 minutes of fame. That's why you don't see me. Success is a price too high for me to pay. If I must sacrifice my dignity and my self-respect to attain it. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. And that poem kind of segues into my subject matter for today. And it's Black Success, White Spouse. Again, Black Success, White Spouse. And I'm just going to dive right in. I really have some strong thoughts about this subject matter for today. So I'm going to explain. Well, I just have to back up a little bit and say that this is just my observation. This is not fact. This is just my thoughts on what I've been observing over the last few years. And my partner and I have been, you may have heard me mention it throughout some podcasts and at different times. But I want to talk about black successful people, gay and straight, that seem to with non-black people. They don't necessarily have to be Caucasian, but they don't have a black partner or a black spouse. And it seems like the more successful they become, the more they lean toward being with a white counterpart. And it's just baffling to me because even in the gay community, there's a lot of that also. And you don't know who you're going to fall in love with. You can't control that. But I got to admit, I'm surprised at the numbers of how many biracial partnerships I've seen. And especially living here in Oklahoma, as much as racism is a big thing in this country, I've never seen so much biracial relationships. And being a black gay man of a certain age, I'm always observing, catching myself staring at black couples and white interracial couples. And it's just interesting to me. I myself have never dated anybody that was not black. Again, it doesn't say I haven't been a black, but again, I have never dated. And honestly, I don't think that I could because I'm such a complex man. I'm not easy to love, but I'm not hard to love. But if somebody can't really know my pain, it's difficult being with somebody else that happens to be black, but non-black people can't know your pain. But it's something about somebody else being able to truly understand what you're experiencing. And sometimes I just want to interview couples that are, again, to get a better understanding. And honestly, it started what really started me on this road of wanting to have this subject is one of my favorite poets, Nikki Giovanni. When I watched her documentary, I didn't know she was gay. I think I had kind of thought that, but that wasn't the issue that I had. It was the fact that she had a white partner. And she's such a political activist. She's such a cornerstone in the black community as far as civil rights and things of that nature. So I was really surprised and taken back by her having a white partner. But I also find it interesting that usually you don't see the white partners with the black successful people on the red carpet. You usually don't see them. Like the young lady, Quinta, I can't think of her last name right now, that has a very successful show, the Elementary show. I'm sorry, it's escaping me right now, but I'm sure you guys know who I'm speaking of. Like, I've discovered her husband was white, but you never see him. So it's almost like they don't want the black community. You know he's white, but at the same time, they don't really show him. And it's Abbott Elementary, which is a big hit show on ABC. I love the show myself. But I guess my point is, are we not allowed to be successful together? Or is it that when we travel in certain circles, you don't see black people in those circles, so you end up dating someone? Because I'm really trying to understand, even like I said, even in the gay community, I've seen a lot of, like I said, interracial relationships. And it just trips me out because as much as I want to be successful, and as much as I want to be quote unquote rich or secure with money, I don't think like that. I guess I'm just kind of, and like I said, being in a black relationship, I think black relationships have their challenges. But I've also spoke on that. I think black relationships are inherently, if I'm using that properly, we inherit a lot of stuff in our relationships I don't think we deserve. I don't think black relationships have a level playing field like white counterparts do. Meaning we can't just take off and go to a retreat and work on our relationship, work on our marriage. We don't have those luxuries to be able to, let's just focus on our relationship for like 6 months and we're going to take the kids on a sabbatical and we're going to, like I said, literally work on our relationship. I don't think black relationships have that luxury of being able to repair things. We have financial challenges, emotional challenges. We have to teach our kids how to go through things that white people don't have to teach their kids. Mentally, emotionally, having conversations that you have to have with your black children or even biracial children. I mean, by all standards, they're black. And it's, especially in a world that's getting harder and harder and harder to maneuver through. It's not difficult, but I'm just trying to understand, how do we end up with, are we not allowed to be with someone that looks like us when we become successful? And again, this is just an observation. Like I said, I have nothing against, but it's just something I've noticed, a trend in sports. I've seen it in acting and I've seen it in music. It just seems like, and I'm always surprised. I'm like, oh, they have a white partner, or they have a white partner. And it just seems to be a trend, and I'm just kind of wondering, again, it's just kind of like, how do those relationships work? Do they face the same challenges? Is it different? But I can say what I think and why I think we end up in those relationships, why I think people end up with white partners. I think when you come home to somebody that's not black, they're not sharing the same burden. And what I mean is that their job is to please you, to uplift you. Because when you have a hard day, or if you've experienced some racism, or if you've experienced something only a black person knows, a white person can, or like I said, a non-black person can comfort you in a way that maybe a black person, because they're shouldering their own pain. So I feel like they don't have to, I don't want to say their job is to comfort you, but they're going to comfort you from a place that some of us can't even get to. We have to find that place within each other to comfort one another, to lift each other, especially when you're dealing with stuff that is emotionally, mentally taxing. And when you're dealing with a non-black person that doesn't have that at all, they don't even have that in their mind. They don't have those what's the word I'm looking for? Phobias. They don't have those phobias at all. Then they can comfort you on a level that maybe a black person can't. And and they're not going to say those things that we say to each other, man up or get over it, or that's just how it is. And honestly, I'm just trying to understand, even as I try to go through this life, trying to be successful. Because money, again, as I've said in the past, scares me. And I don't mean scaring me in the sense, I don't want it to change me into somebody that I'm not. I love being black. I love who I am. And I have nothing against other people. I mean, I have my issues, but as far as sharing my life and partnerships, and I still have a belief in us as black people. And it's difficult for me to see certain things now at this particular age, because it seems like we're not worthy of, what's the word, rising up with someone. Like, for example, I have a lot of respect for Jay-Z and Beyonce because they're a powerful black couple. They don't need each other in a financial sense, but you can tell they've literally upgraded each other in such a great way. So can you imagine all the other black couples that could be a Jay-Z and a Beyonce on their level? It doesn't necessarily have to be that grand or that big, but the powerful couples that we don't even know about that are just doing things. And I have a lot of respect for gay and straight powerful couples because, like I said, I know the struggles they may have to go through to maintain that lifestyle and what they did to get there. Just like President Obama and Michelle Obama. I can't imagine the stuff they had to go through to get where they are and the stuff they have to deal with now. We see the comments, and then you see the old pictures of them when they were struggling, and when he was a senator, and and I have so much respect for that. And it's something about coming up together with black couples that I just love and respect. And I love seeing successful partnerships. I don't like seeing people break up, or I like seeing people work it out if they can. And it probably has a lot to do with my own parents. My parents are still together. They've been together since I was born. They've been together 56 years. Matter of fact, I'll be going home to celebrate their anniversary next month. And they were my first example of a black couple. And I can look back in hindsight, even if they had problems, and I'm sure they did, because they got married at such a young age. My father and mother never did things in front of us, at least to my knowledge. I mean, not in front of me. Maybe my brother and sister have a different take on it. But when it comes to, like, my mother never went through my father's phone or his belongings, or they always, to me, had a level of security that I saw. Like, my mother had her friends, my father had his friends. We did stuff as a family. They seemed to have their own lifestyles, but then they had a lifestyle together, and then we had a lifestyle with them. But they never fought in front of us. Every now and again, my mother would say something, and my father would just be like, this is what we're going to do. And that's what they did. So it wasn't like she had a voice in the relationship, but they never, like I said, I never saw my father hit my mother or anything of that nature. And again, I know my parents had their struggles, but I have so much respect for them being a black couple that, especially when you're having a baby. Myself, my mother was pregnant with me in '68, and Martin Luther King had just gotten killed in April of that same year. And she's pregnant with me, and I'm thinking to myself, you're having a black man child, and they just killed one. And I always talk to her about that because I'm always so like, what the anxiety, maybe she wasn't thinking that way, but I'm thinking, oh my God, you're having a baby. And my father has I mean, my both of them have, me and my brother and my sister. I have so much respect for people, period, black people that had kids during that time. And and to be a couple, like how do you deal with those conversations? And then also when I moved to the South, after I graduated from high school to go to the Art Institute, my parents never discouraged me to fly out on my own. They knew I had my issues, but I have so much respect for the fact that they did not discourage me from leaving the nest. But also, my parents never talked about race like that. I mean, I think we probably could have brought home somebody that wasn't black. They probably would. I mean, I don't know. We never got into that. Don't date. We never had those conversations. Don't date somebody that isn't black or whatever. I guess my parents really, everybody that came to our house, they were pretty open arms about. They had their thoughts. I think they wanted us to kind of learn things on our own. And what I mean by that, I didn't think they wanted us to be scared of the world in terms of going out into it. They told us there was good people and bad people, and you have to discern which ones work for you. And they just never, in hindsight, as I'm talking to you now, my mother and father never really discouraged us when it came to our friendships and relationships. They always just wanted us to pay attention and be mindful of who we brought into our space. And my father specifically with me, a lot of things I didn't understand with my dad. It was a predominantly black school, but I had white friends, I had Hispanic friends, Asian friends. And my parents, again, never said anything despairing about any of them. I mean, they just said my father would just be watching, pay attention. And that was what I kind of carry with me now. And I said all that to say, dating somebody that was white, it was just never something I considered. I think I've met people that were attractive, but it never dawned on me to actually date. And to be honest with you, it's not, again, and I think part of me felt like all of my friends dated, non-black people, and whether they were gay or straight. And I guess it never really truly fascinated me like that, but only because I had my own struggles and I didn't think that person would understand. And again, I think I would love maybe in the future to interview someone that is in a relationship that's not non-black. But I guess my point is that when it seems as though when we become successful, that we're leaning toward having a non-black partner. And it's just kind of baffling that it seems like it just seems to be a trend. And maybe they genuinely do love these people. I'm not trying to take away from it, but again, it gets back to some of my anxiety about becoming successful. Just like I know that I'm going to do a podcast on plastic surgery and Botox, because I myself have, I'm aging. I can see the lines in my face, and I know that I am a man again of a certain age. I don't want to do that. I just see a lot of things. As much as I want to be on a different level in my life, I don't want to lose myself in the world. Just like the poem, I don't want the approval or the validation. I know I'm good at what I do. I'm happy to be a black man. I feel like I'm attractive. I'm aging gracefully. And I don't think you can see the pain or my struggles in my face, And I have to thank my parents for that. I really have to give them credit for, I know how to do things that don't cost money. I know the simple things in life that make life worth living. I don't need money for that. And that part I got from my parents. And I want to share it with another black person. Like my partner, I've never said this out loud, but he is the person I want to get rich with. He's the person I want to travel the world with. I want to do things with. There's so many things and he's been so many places that I want to see life through his eyes at all these places. And because I want to travel, and I don't want to work this hard for other people. And I want to see the world with a black partner. I mean, I just do, because again, we've worked hard. Nobody knows the inner workings of this relationship specifically and what it took to get to that place. So It's not just about being rich or famous or successful. It's like you went through the dirt with somebody. You got in the trenches and you came out well, and you can help other people. And it's something about sticking your chest out and saying, you know what, we did that. And that's the other thing I respect about our relationship is the fact that I don't, and we always kind of say this to each other, but we're great individuals. Even we're great together, but we're great separately. I mean, he's excellent at what he does. Everything he puts his mind to, he does it with excellence. And he knows that's how I am. You know, nothing less than excellence. So that's our mutual connection, among other things. But, and I'm not just saying that to blow smoke or anything like that. We really are genuinely good at what we do. And very, I wouldn't say arrogant, or we're just confident. And what I mean by that, for all the people that are confident, is that that's years. That's years of experience. That's college, it's education, but that's also life experience. Life experience makes you great. Wisdom is the reward. And to share your wisdom with someone, that it's an amazing adventure to me. That's why I love elderly people. I love stories that my father and mother share with me, and my aunts and uncles may share. Even my grandparents. My grandmother used to tell me all these stories about when she was a girl and when she was younger, and those things I hang on to. And the black experience is the experience that I love. That's what I grew up with. So I don't, again, not to take away from Caucasians and whatnot. It's just that to date someone whose people, not specifically them, have hurt my family in some way in my history, it would be difficult for me. It wouldn't be easy. But again, this podcast is not meant to, like I said, poke fingers. Like I said, it's just an observation. It just seems like to be black and successful, you have to have a white counterpart. And I don't think that's the case. And I know it's not the case with everybody. Everybody black and successful does not have a white partner. But it's my observation because I'm on this journey and I'm trying to get to a better place in my life, creatively, financially. And I was just questioning, would I do that? Like, would I do that? And I just like, again, it's just one of those things, a question I've been asking myself. Do I want a white spouse? Is that necessary for me to feel important, to feel validated, to have a white spouse on my arm? And it was more of a question for me than a question and observation, because a lot of people that have, again, white counterparts just surprised me. People that I didn't get the impression that they did. I mean, they just seemed very, very black. And I just like, wow. So again, no disrespect to those people, but again, I like being in a black relationship. I do. And because again, I think it's something powerful about being around somebody that makes you powerful. They know which buttons to push and know how to keep you motivated. And I need that. I do. And I want to be reminded of where I come from and who I am as a black man. And going on 56 years old, I am, even though I still struggle with a lot of stuff, I couldn't be more prouder of being black. I mean, I know people see my posts and they probably think, he's just so anti-white. I'm really not. It's just that I've been through so much shit and been put through so much shit by white people. I can't imagine what my parents have gone through, things that they haven't shared with us. And things, and I want to share that with my partner. I want to say, look, I had a shitty day, or this, not to be, but I'm trying to be frank. And if I can't be myself with him and say, hey, and even when I pray about relationships, I pray for our relationship, but I pray every time I leave my house. Every time I leave my domain, I'm saying, hey, give me the strength to endure. Because ageism, racism, as I said in the poem, this stuff is hard. And I don't have the patience that I had when I was a young man. I really don't have the same. So just going back and saying, sharing this anger, this frustration, my joys, my highs and lows, it has to be with a black partner for me. But again, as always, I pray life is treating you well. Oh, what? Before I go, I also wanted to remind you guys about my store, All Things Moetic. There's a lot of product in there now, but I'm going to be making some changes to it soon. I'm just trying to just be patient with me. I'm going to be basically adding quite a few bits of things that aren't in there right now. But also, as I said before, I'll be adding the t-shirts later in the summer. Prayerfully, I'll have several different t-shirts. That's my plan, God willing, that I really want to put in the, I want to have my Conversation with Mose t-shirts. I have the coffee mugs, and I'm also going to have All Things Moetic shirts, and I'm also going to have other t-shirts as well. But I want you guys to come by and check out my shirts. And also, I wanted to remind you guys about another book I'm working on later in the summer, another poetry book. And as you guys know, my partner and I have a dog. His name is Langston, named after Langston Hughes. And I'm working on a book of poetry inspired by our little black dog. And he's the joy of our lives right now. But anyway, that poem or that book will be shared later this year. So I'll keep you posted on that. And also, lastly, my Black Experience exhibit is definitely coming. I will keep you posted as I put those items together. I'm still working on the materials and finding a space and getting all the details. I'm a perfectionist, but I'm not a perfectionist. But I have a vision for this event that I am working towards. So believe me, you'll have pictures and videos and comments. Trust me, you'll be very proud once I get it together. But again, as always, I pray life is treating you well, wherever you are in the world, and that you're one day closer to your dreams and prayers coming true. Thank you for listening.